Welcome back, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. My name is Pritesh with Kaizen Crypto. We are joined by several special guests in this installment of the CNFT Festival. We're going to be talking about how to build a platform on the Cardano blockchain. So a big thank you to Yuri for putting this event together. And then I'm joined by two very special guests. I've got Dr. Navjit Dhaliwal from Iagon and also Blake Locke from jpg.store. So welcome, everybody. How are you all doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, very cool, guys. I'm excited to speak with you. So the topic for our discussion is how to build a platform on Cardano. Let's go ahead and start with Dr. Navjit. Tell us a little bit about your platform.
Sure. So Iagon's technology is first shared storage compute economy that bridges decentralization with regulation. That enables us to target, enterprise clients. We have two pilot customers. We also have grants via Innovation Norway, which are government funded, and tax relief from SkatteFUNN, which is also government funded. We recently closed a round of 3.6 million last year in July. And we're headed by 4 PhDs, and which are experts in decentralized cloud computing, AI, cloud computing architecture, and business development. We've expanded our team recently and have opened an office in Poland, and in the process of opening up an office in Australia. We have team members there. And Iagon actually was based in terms of is founded on the basis of that data should be sovereign and protected and private. The idea started actually from my background, which is in the healthcare sector, is major issues in how healthcare data is stored, with modern solutions severely lacking transparency, privacy, and compliance. The initial ambition of Iagon was to create a secure way for individuals to hold their own data and interact more effectively with the healthcare services. But later on, we found that, the functionality was evolved because the fact that, not only healthcare users can, let's say, benefit from this, but all types of users, from enterprise companies, SMEs, organizations, to individuals, for almost any type of data, right? So we are using idle resources for storage and compute, connected from different devices around the world, thereby also reducing the carbon footprint as well. That's a short summary of what Iagon's about. We can definitely go into the details later.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic to learn more about that. And for all the NFT lovers out there, so jpg.store. Blake, tell us a little bit more about your platform.
Sure, man. So JPEG Store started in November. And we've quickly climbed to become Cardano's most popular NFT marketplace. And we're really trying to bring more functionality and fun to the CNFT ecosystem. We have introduced a lot of new features to our store, and we're sprinting really quickly, hiring as fast as we can to really catch up to the other blockchains in terms of just trading functionality. But we're also trying to throw in our own creative spin on what NFTs can be. And you're going to start to see more of that over the coming weeks and months. I think Cardano is a really special blockchain in the sense that it's a lot more decentralized than the other blockchains that are out there. A lot more thought has gone into the architecture of the blockchain and really set it up to be a global financial operating system. And so we're taking all the advantages that Cardano gives us to really bring a first-class experience in terms of NFT trading. Also, our brand. So our company is called JPEG Store, and it's a little bit of a meme. JPEG is, of course, the file extension of just a photo on your computer. And so a lot of people just call NFTs JPEGs, which is not entirely accurate. NFTs are certainly a huge technological innovation, and there's so much more you can do with them beyond just trading art. But we're really about having a fun, like easy to approach brand that I think can bring more people into the Cardano and crypto ecosystems. And once they have their first step in the door, we're hopeful, then we can start to teach them a little bit more about what makes this technology so powerful.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Those are some shiny JPEGs.
Yeah, no, they're so much fun. I love the artists and the creators. We would not be here without them. And what excites me so much about this conference is I think that Japan has so much art and culture that would be fantastic to show off in the NFT space. So yeah, really excited to be here, and thank you so much for hosting this.
Very cool. Well, yeah, absolutely. Guys, it's really a pleasure to speak with both of you. I think that both of your projects, Dr. Navjeet, I think with what you're building, it's going to be interesting to see, because we hear about these decentralized credentials, right? Like a decentralized ID, and then how you're incorporating that into the medical industry, but then also the potential for use cases beyond just that. Really interesting. And then I wanted to also get into some of the topics that we're going to be talking about today, which is how to build a platform, why you chose Cardano, some of the challenges and some of the solutions that you guys have encountered. So this is open to anybody, really. I guess we'll just have a nice free-flowing conversation. In terms of why you chose Cardano, I guess we can start there. Blake did mention, the idea of it being a decentralized blockchain, but then apart from that, what are some of the other advantages that you've seen?
So yeah, Blake mentioned it, like, the advantages of Cardano in terms of decentralization. That's definitely one of the bigger advantages. It's also has, for example, it's very eco-friendly, meaning that it's a proof of stake model. So it's very, let's say, low on carbon footprint. And that's one of the advantages. The other advantage is that it's built up in a way that it's gone through research papers. So it's not built up in a way it experiments and then building backwards. Like, for example, I would say Ethereum is built in that way, where there's a lot of problems in Ethereum, and now they're doing Ethereum 2.0 because they've realized some of the mistakes, right? Cardano is built on a lot of layers in terms of they've done a lot of ground research. They've published a lot of papers. They've done all the hard work in the beginning and then laid the foundation to make it, a very secure blockchain, a very decentralized blockchain. And it's been, I think I just read a Twitter post today. It's been 600 days, I think, without downtime, without any issues, right? It's really, Cardano's creating something really innovative here. And that's one of the benefits. The challenging part, I guess, from a business point of view, because I'd be speaking more on a business term, not from a technical point of view, is that obviously you have to take that into account, because they're building from a foundation and layer after layer. The progress is going a lot slower than normally in terms of development and stuff like that. So a lot of the reason why we haven't seen a whole adoption in this space in terms of different dApps and things like that is that certain dApps require like push transactions, which are issues on the PAB backend currently, right? And also, let's say Ethereum projects or other projects want to migrate over, there's no bridges available currently that allow that, right? So I think we will see the adoption, but it will take some time to get there. That's my 2 cents.
Sure. No, those are some great points. Yeah, Blake, please.
I'd love to add on to what Nav said just about the carbon footprint of Cardano. That was a huge draw for me. I am definitely a big environmentalist. I love to travel, and I've definitely seen the environmental damage on our planet firsthand. I visited Iceland and seen the glaciers retreating. I used to live on the West Coast here in North America, and we have forest fires now every summer. And so having this financial operating system that uses less than 0.1% the electricity of Bitcoin or Ethereum was a huge draw for me personally. I think going even a step beyond that, what I really love about Cardano is that they're taking this new innovative technology, blockchain technology, and they're trying to find ways to use it to actually improve the real world. And so Cardano is not just trying to make the blockchain faster, transactions cheaper. They're also actually doing the hard on the ground work in terms of partnering with governments and working in developing countries. Cardano signed a deal with the Ethiopian government last year to put student IDs onto the blockchain, which I think is incredible. In terms of all the blockchains that are out there, I think Cardano is the most likely candidate to actually change the world. And that's why I'm here, because these other blockchains, well, they might have moved a little bit faster initially because they're not, like Nav said, they're not putting in the groundwork in terms of how do we keep the speed with such a large decentralized network. But even though Cardano is moving a little bit slower, I think it's, the tortoise versus the hare. The tortoise wins the race.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, I fully agree there. I think that, the ethos of Cardano is really well put, Blake. I mean, they're working on giving power to people that don't have power. Like, especially in Africa, they're making a lot of strides and really trying to help the little guy, in a world where, the only the small minute people have control over power, right? So I think they're doing really, really good work in Africa, definitely.
Yep, fantastic. I'm so excited to see. I mean, we're just here living through history. It's like the technology is fantastic, but then being able to use it and put it out there in the real world, and just to see all that taking place, the hands being shaken, the deals being signed, it's like, wow. I really resonate with a lot of those points. Now, as it comes to both of your each respective projects, so a NFT marketplace and medical credentials on the blockchain, let's talk about some of the challenges that you all have faced. I know that with this space, everybody is coming into this ecosystem trying to find the opportunities where, we see some of the obstacles that have been presented by the legacy systems that we have, gatekeepers, all these middlemen, whether it's at your bank, whether it's to supply your records, in our case here, medical records, right? But blockchain is really going to allow us to give power back to the individual. As far as the solutions that each of your platforms have created, what are some of the challenges that you've seen so far?
I think I can start here. So we're an NFT marketplace, and doing an NFT marketplace is a really popular idea that a lot of entrepreneurs have when they first enter the space. You look at OpenSea, just either this year or last year was valued at $13 billion. That's a very attractive evaluation. So we have something like 15 to 20 competitors. There's been 15 to 20 marketplaces on Cardano. So definitely the biggest challenges for us have just been moving quickly and staying ahead of the competition. It really comes down to a lot of hard work. And I think like we wouldn't be able to have pushed so hard if we were just in it for the money. I think going back to what we were talking about earlier, this idea that Cardano is really doing some groundbreaking work that hopefully gives power back to the individual in a world that currently is controlled by oligarchs and these large corporations. I'm really hopeful that this is going to lead to a better future, and that's what keeps us pushing. So I think we've built a fantastic team, and the first few months, they were rough. We weren't making any money. We didn't have investors, but we just kept going and kept fighting for what we thought was right. And here we are now. We're profitable. We're talking to investors currently, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year holds in store.
Absolutely.
Yep. From my side, I think the difficulty, I think, for not just us, for most blockchain projects, I think, is that, mainstream adoption, right? And the biggest factor, I think, in crypto and decentralized world is that a lot of people aren't familiar with dApps and apps and things interacting with, wallets, for example, right? I think it's important to point out that we have to a lot of projects are concentrating on that, swaying away from that methodology where they put everything that's on the back end right on the front end, meaning that the UI is not very friendly. So we're putting a lot of concentration on that, and showcase you like little hints of what we are working on. Maybe can share my screen here. So just to make it very simple on what we're looking at and what we're trying to create, it's something neat interface where, something users familiar with, that's something the user can relate to, where easy way to connect to adapt, right? We want to make sure that the simplicity is there, the UI UX is there, and making it easy for users to gain adoption for these kind of platforms. That's one of the challenging. And as Blake said, it's a very competitive space, right? There's a lot of projects out there with similar ideas, and you have to kind of make sure you drive forward and keep on your toes, basically, keep your research up to date and try to compete with other projects that are doing something similar, right? So you have to think outside the box a little bit. So definitely a challenge. And also, everyone has to remember this is a new technology. It's not, it hasn't been around that long, so it's not tested, even though we can say that it's been maybe, I would say about 8 years maybe, but tested much less, I guess. So it's going to take some time before really like the adoption kicks in, and before the real projects distinguish themselves from the competitors. That's about it from my end.
Okay, cool. Just as you had that display showing us a little bit of the user interface, kind of like a sneak peek. So now, are you guys looking at mobile as well? Because I know that there is going to be a huge market for things like credentials on mobile devices.
Yes, we definitely look into mobile, right? Most of the usage in crypto in general, most of our functions go through the mobile device, and I think it's very big also in Japan. A lot of people use their mobile to access their crypto wallets and things like that. So it's important to have a mobile app for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, that's going to be awesome to keep up with your progress. Circling back around, we did have another question about the NFT marketplace that you're creating, Blake. So you did also say that you're talking about a launchpad system. Like in your earlier days, you had mentioned there was a lack of funding and stuff like that. But now good to hear that you guys are on track and, have a sustainable business model in place. Do you have any plans for the Japanese market and the entry of Japanese creators specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's actually a very large unaddressed market in the NFT ecosystem. Currently, the majority of NFT creators are from North America. On Cardano, we see a lot of creators coming from the UK, which is really exciting. But I would love to see more creators coming from outside of that. And we definitely want to start getting into the Japanese market as soon as we possibly can. We first started a launchpad program just about 6 weeks ago now. And what our launchpad program is it's meant for creators who maybe they're good artists, but they're new to blockchain and they don't know how to make NFTs. And so if that fits into your category and you're listening to this, please consider reaching out and applying. We would love to work with you, especially if you're from Japan or some other market that isn't really currently super prominent in the ecosystem. And we'd love to help boost your voice and help you succeed on our platform. To tell you a little bit more about what the Launchpad program is, we basically partner up with you. We show you how to build an NFT community, give you some tips on marketing. We pair you up with mentors, so other creators on Cardano who have launched very successful projects. Some of the top ones like Clay Nation, Chilled Kongs, Yumi Universe. And we'll get them to really help you succeed in your first collection on Cardano.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah. So now with that, let's talk a little bit about the teams that you all have put in place here. And then following after that, I wanted to touch on some of the points from your experience. Any suggestions or thoughts that you might have for anybody who's interested in building a project on Cardano? You know, just circling back to the point of discussion here for our conversation, how to build a platform on Cardano. I wanted to talk about your teams first, but then going into that, giving any suggestions that you would have for building a team and, you know, putting a project together. What does that actually look like?
Yeah, I can maybe go first here. I mean, in terms of building a team, obviously it's really hard to find good developers within the space, and because it's competitive, there's a lot of people seeking out blockchain developers specifically, and specifically in the Cardano space, it's very hard because it's specific to Haskell and you know, specific to Plutus even more, which is even you know, a step further. So it's really hard to find the developers you need. But at the same time, I think the major thing here is if you're planning on building on Cardano right now, patience is probably the number one factor. And I think that it's important that patience is key, because if you rush everything out, it might cause some, you know, delays. And we've seen that in a lot of DEXs actually, you know, vulnerabilities, hacks, and things like that. So I think it's important that you take patience into consideration there. But other than that, hiring a team and going through our team, I can quickly share you our screen. It's also available on our website, www.iagon.com. So we'll quickly go through our team actually. Myself and Alad were the first co-founders. Dr. Alad Harrison, he's based out of Israel. He's a machine learning expert, and Dr. Claudia Lima, he's the former CTO of East Asia for Huawei. And Dr. Rohit Gupta, he's actually the, let's say, senior manager currently of Google, and he was a former director of technology for Expedia. And then we have some updates on our teams that we have to obviously update our page, and there are some changes. But Hugh Ling's our product manager. Andrew, our head of engineering, he's out of Australia. We have Kang from also our senior full stack developer out of Australia. Our main headquarters are in Oslo. So Talha, our full stack developer, Naveed, and Trim are based out of Oslo. Jared is also based out of Australia. He's our head of growth. Marketing, Pavlo is actually in Ukraine at the moment, unfortunately. So he's in a difficult situation, but he's still our marketing manager. Maya, our administration officer here in Oslo, and Gino is also our data protection officer in Oslo. And we have some advisors on board as well. And our country manager out of Poland is Christoph. That's the summary of, we have added a few other members, but we'll update you guys on that on our webpage later, I guess.
Okay, awesome. Wow, lots of brilliant people working on this project.
Thank you.
You can see our team page on jpg.store/team. One thing I wanted to say is, I think when you're building a DApp or project on Cardano, the advice I would give is strive to be original. There are so many people building in this space, and I think the best thing you can do is come up with a product that's different and unique. And that has worked really well for us. And I think like one example I want to give there is almost a compare, like our team page is the total opposite of NAV. So which is like what I love so much. We have on our team page, you know, it's all like about NFTs, and everyone has like just a cartoon character, and we don't have any fancy titles like CEO, or we just try and be like, oh, marketing expert, like, and so, you know, what works for us might not work for Nav, but I will say that what we're doing is, I think, unique and original, and it's been working for us really well. And I think if you're going to build a company and build a team and create sort of a brand, you want to find a way to stand out in the market. And so my advice to anyone would just be strive to be original.
I think it's a good, you mentioned that. I think it fits your brand perfectly, to be honest. So I think that there's no bad things about having, you know, different names and characters that represent certain developers. So I think it's actually really fun.
Totally. And I think what you guys are doing works really well for you, because you're a more professional, like sort of enterprise facing company, whereas we're consumer facing and we just want to be fun and good vibes. So it's very different, right?
Definitely.
I love that. I feel like just being your authentic self and, with that reflecting in your product, you're automatically going to attract that type of people, just to be able to put the team in place. It's like, if you bring something to the market that you think is going to provide value and that's original, those people are just going to come to you.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, that's awesome. I feel like I've learned a lot just from chatting with you both and just like hearing about your experiences. I know that these are still the early days, right? There's quite a bit that we have to look forward to. And with that, I just wanted to ask you both a bit about your roadmaps for the future. Maybe some milestones that you both are looking forward to with your respective projects.
I think I can take this one first. So in general, we tend to be very secretive about our roadmap. We prefer to announce things when they're ready rather than having an announcement about an announcement. But I can give a couple little sprinkles maybe of what we're working on. So one thing that I think is really missing from the NFT space right now is sort of the almost social media aspect. A lot of people, they show off their NFTs on Twitter, but there isn't really a good way to like find people who are within your community and own those NFTs. You can't really, see the top holders of a collection, things like that. So we want to add more of a social aspect to our store and a way to find other NFT holders and find their social media handles and network a little bit more. And I think that's what's so much fun about NFTs is you meet people from all over the world who like the same art as you, and you can learn about them and their culture. And I love that about this ecosystem. Another thing we're working on is bringing more trading functionality to Cardano. So in the next few weeks to months, you're going to see things like auctions and offers and bundles and just new ways to buy and sell NFTs on our store. And we have a couple other secret projects that we're working on, but can't say anything about those for the time being.
Yeah, from our side, I
looking
think
forward to that.
Yeah, I fully agree with Blake. Like there's a lot of, in terms of, everything is kept behind doors, even though it's a decentralized space. A lot of the development, even IOHK does the same thing. They keep a lot of that stuff closed behind doors before they present it. But if you mention it too early, you get backlash if you don't produce on a certain date. So I think it's important that you try to communicate to the community in a correct fashion or correct way. We're actually working on what our priority currently is to migrate from ERC20 to Cardano. And we are actually working on our own bridge, and hopefully, and I don't want to put dates on it, hopefully we launch that before Singularity, and that launches their converter. So we've been working on that. So this is the first time we're mentioning it publicly, actually. And also we are working on, we're working on actually building our decentralized platform, which is the decentralized storage. And we have actually launched it on MVP and produced it to one of our partners. And now we are working on launching that as well, hopefully soon. And we'll try to update on dates and stuff, but we don't want to be too specific on dates. So we'll keep it open for now. The main priority is right now to get our tokens onto Cardano, create some liquidity through the DEXs, and just show support. We already have a node pool created for Cardano. We want to show support for Cardano and be part of the whole process.
All right, awesome. Lots of updates to look forward to. Very cool. Well, guys, I really did learn a lot. I'm looking forward to keeping up with both of your projects' progress. To close things out for our conversation today. So I'm sure that there's going to be some people who have viewed this conversation who might want to learn more about your projects, maybe keep up with your progress. So tell us a little bit about where our audience could go to find out more information about what you're building.
Yeah, So to learn more about JPEG Store, you can just go to www.jpg.store. Or you could find us on Twitter. If you have any questions for me personally, I'm also on Twitter at BlakeLockBrown. You can reach out to either me, honestly, even reaching out to our team's like main page on Twitter, which is at JPEG Store NFT. We read every single tweet direct message that we get on Twitter. Our team's fairly responsive. So check out our website, check out our social media channels, and yeah, come hang out with us.
Yeah, you can check out our website on www.iagon.com. All our socials are listed if you scroll down to the footer. So you can link our Twitter through there, our Telegram, Discord. We're very active on responding to anyone's requests. So on Twitter or Telegram, just feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So Blake, Dr. Navjeet, I've learned a lot. Thank you both so much for sharing your thoughts and your perspective. Of course, Yuri as well. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to the Japanese community for being so welcoming. The CNFT Festival is a great event that we've been able to put together. Lots of hard work has gone into this. And, it's just incredible to see all the different projects being built and, just to be a part of this amazing community. So that is what I have for you here today, everybody. Thank you so much again for watching. If you did enjoy this content, please be sure to share it far and wide. And we will see you in the next installment of the CNFT Festival.